Yes.
No, it's not visible, sir. Please try it again, sir. Sir, is there any network issue because we can't see the presentation?
Sir, it has started sharing. Just wait for a. It's come, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see the share screen, but make it full screen, sir.
I will do it. Now, how is it now?
Yeah, it's visible, sir. Yeah, it's visible. Yes, sir.
So, good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss something on valuation versus value capture and how it applies to business and what are the myths that are surrounding this and how can we benefit from this discussion.
Sorry to
It's a
interrupt
very
you, sir.
small presentation. We are going to go more about discussing the issue. And
Hello?
you are
Yogi,
requested
sir.
to
Sir, we are not able
also
to hear you properly.
jot down your questions. I'll try to take them up. There are world level experts in India.
Yogi, sir, we can't hear properly.
Give me a minute. I am taking Wi-Fi of the company where I am in.
No
There was
problem,
some
sir.
issue in my
No
mobile.
problem, sir. No problem, sir. Yeah. Now it's proper, sir. Yeah.
अब तो वो तो ठीक है, समझ गया। छोटे वेसल में नहीं, एटलीस्ट बड़े बड़े वेसल में तो एटलीस्ट या फिर
Yogesh sir, we will share the screen. You just have like you can continue with the presentation, sir.
Signals are not so good. Even for speaking, I'll need a little bandwidth. Give me 1 minute and
Okay, no
I'm
problem. Sir.
coming back.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So good morning, everyone. This is Sumit Kataria, and by the time Yogesh ji joins in, I'd just like to open a chat poll with everybody in case we've been doing Sadgun Sang for a while now, and if you have any suggestions on to what topics we should cover or what should be done to make this more meaningful, please feel free to put down your comments on the chat box. If there are certain specific topics that you want us to cover within the Sadgun Sang, please put it in the chat box and it'll help us to pave the forward session. Thank you. Any kind of suggestions, feedbacks, any lectures that you wish for us to take, anything. Thank you so much.
Yogesh sir, like we have already shared the screen. So if you want, we can continue with the presentation.
Yeah, Jyoti, I suggest
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jain to video, he can put it on mute,
Mm-hmm.
and screen sharing, you are doing it. So if he only talks, then it will be better. So that will be good. It will capture properly. I think there is some connectivity problem.
Yes, sir. Right now, sir, already we have shared from our side only. Like,
Yeah,
ma'am
but
is-
please request him to mute his video also. the voice
Okay.
will be more clear.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
How, am I audible now?
Perfect,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Perfect, perfect.
Okay, I'll be sharing the screen because the company Wi-Fi is now put on. So allow me that and we will go through.
Right, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sushma, please stop sharing and sir will share from there. Please go ahead, sir. You can share now.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, perfect. We can see your screen now, sir.
My screen
Perfect.
is also visible now.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So I am extremely sorry for the disruption that has happened. The bullet points that we are going to cover are terminology of value creation versus value capture, how it impacts the business, and how these apply, and what are the lesser known areas of value creation. First of all, we need to understand what is business. Most of us who embark into doing any business are setting up a factory from the idea that they have had in with their nascent stage when they were young, and later on that produce of the factory becomes the business. Whereas initially it used to meet a need of the customer. As the times change, the needs also change. But the business which runs the factory should have also modified that business of changing the factory mix so that the need of the customers are met. Rather, I would say factory is not paramount, but business is paramount. The basic flaw or error that we business person do, or we industrialists many a times do, is we consider factory as the prime production activity to fulfill the requirement of the business. Sometimes business change and we are left high and dry in the market, why our products are not getting sold. So we need to be very clear about the business. Business is need fulfillment of a customer. That need fulfillment needs to be understood. It has to be recalibrated every 3 to 5 years time. If there is a change in business, that change should also be captured and the offering must be tweaked. If your factory is not capable of meeting those needs, you need to find out those provider for those needs. If they are not from your side, you can hire the facility which can provide those goods and services, and you can remain in the business. This basic premise needs to be understood very clearly, because otherwise we tend to continue with our old factory. The establishment becomes older and older, and we become meaningless in the market. So how do we understand value creation and value capture? When you create value for your customers, the more value, the better is value creation. Price discovery is a later idea. So idea is you have to study your customer, you have to look at their need, you have to understand in what ways you can offer the need fulfillment. It can be through a product, it can be through a service. If you are able to fulfill a customer's need through a product, through a service, in a better way, which no competitor has been doing at a price point, your offering is going to be meaningful to them. That creates some value. The value that is added through that offering is what going to give you some profit in the end, and that profit is enjoyed by the organization in developing similar more products and also taking home some portion of the profit back to your employees' family and your family. What is value capture? There is some underlying value in every product and service, and sometimes we need to harness that value which is already there. So if you are probably having a 5% profit or 10% profit, and we say that we are going to apply lean, or we are going to apply some management concept like Kaizen or management by objective, those are going to be considered as value capturing mechanism. Value is already there in those things, the processes, the system, they are not unleashed, they are not unlocked, and in the process, you end up having a lesser value coming out from your system and processes, and your customer is paying you the value, but you are not getting the right benefit of it. Value capture is nothing but realizing those values which are logged, unleashed, and if you pass a portion of it, again you can stay more competitive in the market. So most of us who are into management system consulting through various tools and techniques are actually working on value capturing methodology. Most of the strategy consultants and design consultants who are into design thinking consulting are working on value creation concept. Value creation concept is a little higher level of concept wherein you work at understanding needs, looking at harnessing a potential of your mind. We say that about 2% of your mind is consuming the energy. The moment it becomes 1% more or 2% more or 3% more, you employ your mind to develop new products and services looking to your customer, and that gives a strong anchor in the market to offer your products and services, which then solve a customer's problem, which then helps you sustain your business in a long term. So we can have a 4-quadrant matrix like this, wherein we have a very common, we have on one y-axis value creation, on x-axis we have value capture, we have sales on left side and profits on x side. So sales on y side, that is vertical side, and profits on x side, that is x-axis, that is profit side. We can have very high sales but resulting into very low profitability. These are the case of nightmare companies. A classical case is of Uber, which has a very good sale, but because it has given a lot of discounts to capture more market, it has given a lot of discounts to customers also, to drivers also, splurged a huge amount in advertising also, it is left with very low profitability. In such a case, running the company becomes a nightmare. There is another case where you have low sales and low profitability. We see a lot of companies like this, which are into hell kind of situation. Sometimes we bear that kind of condition when we are at a very nascent stage, but some companies which become mature and are practically flattening out on their growth path also experience low sales and low profitability. There is a dream company situation, which is a low sales and high profitability, where companies have a monopolistic presence in the market. This is enjoyed mostly by government-owned companies and telecommunication companies. So electric companies, telecommunication companies, which have a tendency of good profit, offering a very shoddy product, but because there is no competition, they enjoy the dream status, wherein sales are not so high, but profitability is very high. There is a risk that somebody enters into the market, challenging them, and their offering becomes dud in no time, and they fall into hell. The best situation is enjoyed by those companies which have a very high sales and high profitability. They are really creating value by their offering. They come up with new products, new services. Their products are unparalleled. They have high sales because they have understood how they will be able to target most of the population in the market. So it is developing world or developed world, both are their customers, and the products are liked by those people. It's a situation of heaven. We go further. So like I was saying, Uber created value by connecting car drivers and passengers quickly and easily. Uber could have captured value, instead it burned billions in money and venture capital money, and to penetrate and win market share, it subsidized passengers and drivers. In the process, the company became very thin and the profitability became hit. The market share is good, profitability is low, sales are high, but growth is not coming up now. We have a very good example of Ola, which is also following on the same path. Ola diversified into scooter manufacturing in other areas, and therefore it is trying to develop a sustenance. Had it remained into Uber kind of taxi service, Ola also looked for looming a death kind of thing in their future. We have Google, where AdWords and search process has such a mechanism where companies are able to advertise their products and services for every click. And Google has developed a mechanism where people have to go for their search engines. They are getting a challenge from ChatGPT and those kind of AI tools and AI companies now. But otherwise, for good 10 to 12 years, 15 years now, Google has had a very good market share as far as those areas are concerned, and they had an employee count of 1.5 lakhs all across the world. Now they are shedding some employees and trying to throw away some flab, becoming lean, but otherwise they had been creating the value all along. New products have been coming. Every product of theirs, be it map, be it search engine, be it meeting, in COVID, everything flourished and company had a big success. So they were in heaven kind of situation. There are gambling companies and casinos which create minimal value for consumers, and they only take profit pocketing them. They give only a transitory feeling of success as they win, but capture a huge amount of value. They are actually a lutera. So I have written something called as analogy of sadhu, business, and lutera. We say that if you are only giving and not taking anything from the market, it is akin to becoming a sadhu. We in normal world cannot act as sadhu because we are here to be in the business and fulfill a need of the customer. In return, we want some profit to sustain our business. We have employees to feed, we have ourselves to develop, and the business has to also flourish and develop. So the second is business wherein you develop a value, you develop an offering, you create value, you capture that value, and if there is a good balance of creation of value and capturing of value, the business is considered to be a balanced business. The moment a business generates a lesser value but captures a huge amount of value from the market, it becomes a lutera kind of situation. They lose social capital from the market. The moment customers despise such kind of companies, they lose reputation. So sadhus type of businesses gain a huge reputation, like Tata. I would say Tata can be considered next to sadhu kind of organization, wherein they did such much about their employees and social aspects that their businesses became a little low performing as against Reliance and as against Adani. And we had been gung-ho about Tata businesses, but they've not been doing so well in the market. They have very good reputation of sadhu, as good as sadhu, but they are not performing so well. Go into any of Tata organization and inside you will hear the stories. They are not having any fire in the belly, no excitement to work, and they just continue. If they have some monopolistic product, if they have good, you can say, some tie-up with foreign company, probably they will survive for 3, 4, 5 years. If they have good license for urea plant or leather plant, they will have some kind of safety net there. Otherwise, they have not been doing very good on business front. Lutera, as I have already told you, those companies which try to capture a huge value like casinos and gambling companies. Now this trend is also coming up, wherein lot of people are coming up with gambling products, gaming companies, which are trying to monetize their offering. They are going to rob a full generation of imagination, and they are going to give excitement at the cost of hard-earned money of their parents, and the value they are going to capture is going to be detrimental to the generations, and the whole generation will be losing in the process. So we'll have to be very clear about this thing. We have to do business and business alone. The moment we drift to any side, either Sadhu or Lutera, we are not going to do justice with our own business. Now, how do we move from one quadrant to another? We'll just see. So, nightmare companies are those companies which have high sales and low profitability, as we talked of. Generally, like that, when they have initially everybody starts from hell where they have low profitability and low sales, then they try to maximize sales at the cost of profitability. If they do not have right strategy, then they try to improve the sales, improve the profitability part, keeping the sales as such. If they get some new products or some new features in the product, they might move towards heaven. And this journey continues. If they are into heaven, they try to take over or cannibalize certain competitors and try to become monopolistic. When they become monopolistic, they shift to dream, and one fine day somebody comes up with a better idea at a much lower cost from some area where you cannot even think of. For example, iPod was the product which Apple came up with. Nobody knew that iPod would one fine day become a mobile company, also offer mobile also in with bundling of music and all other features. And it so happened that Apple became a very big competitor to Nokia and other kind of brands, and became the most premier brand of mobiles. So I've written at bottom, startups are good at creating value, but less good at capturing. So initially, when we have good companies, they come up with new product because they've seen market customer needs, they have understood, they have created product, they are able to service those products at customer level. But since they do not have high sales, they do not have good profitability, they are not so good at capturing the value. Most of the startups are at the level of hell. The mantra for them is to grow on sales part, is what we tell them. But nobody tells them that you have to continue creating value. If they do not do that, they cannot shift to heaven. We will see further. So from new entrant of startup, we started with hell, one needs to go to high sales, and if possible, with bettering of offering, they have to gain position of strength and become a high profitability and high sales company, which is the heaven situation. We go further. With this, I have explained you. I will rush through it, that there are monopolies in the market. The heaven companies try to gobble up the competitors where possible, try to become monopolistic. They go to certain countries wherein they apply certain restrictions, like Pfizer and Moderna were also trying to apply some restrictions for vaccines, and in those countries where vaccines were not manufactured, These companies wanted sovereign guarantee from the government. If the vaccine did not work, they would not be sued and those kind of things. So they wanted to have a dream situation wherein even if sales are not so high, the profitability is there. They are going to sabotage the business game. And if some company of Indian type, Bharat Biotech or Indian this thing comes up, then these companies are going to shift to hell. And that situation we have seen in those companies. Pfizer has been effective hardly at 15% to 17% level, whereas our vaccine has been effective at level of 80-85%. That is the change. That is the effectivity that the market has seen. That is the hollowness that those companies have displayed in the market. What to do to become more value creating company? We have to think differently, not better. What do we mean by not better? When we say in our management consulting, you have to go for Kaizen, Lean, Six Sigma, all these things are thinking better. So you remove non-value adding activities, it becomes a value stream mapping. You remove all kind of waste from the shop floor and processes, it becomes a 5S related concept. You go for small improvement, unlocking some kind of stress strain in the process. You apply 3M, single minute exchange of die and Lean. All these are value capturing mechanism wherein value is already there in the process, but nobody has probably ever thought of it, or they were not designed in the first place in the right way. We are looking at developing new things. So for that, you have to think differently. This is most important idea that we need to take home today. Look at alternative use of routine products. Washing machine, can you tell us something which Punjab people are doing about with washing machine? We have seen lassi being manufactured or lassi being processed in washing machine. Washing machine, which has prime activity of washing your clothes, can also be used in langar halls for developing mix of batter for lassi making, for such kind of mega cooking activity. And the moment you think of routine products into alternative uses, you can offer your same product with minor tweaking if needed to those areas where the market has just not been there. Now, if the market is not there and you have unlocked the market, you can get a profit from those areas which nobody else would have been seeing it. Similarly, we know bus for passenger transport, but old and worn-out buses have been made to several uses. You can have sandwich joints coming into a bus. You can have ticket, this thing. You can have a restaurant into a bus. You can have some kind of product promotion that is going on in a moving bus or a stationary bus. From old trucks into cement companies and oil companies or flour companies, we have seen that banana-shaped trucks which are moving on hardly 15 kilometers or 50 kilometers to transport flour from one company to companies of Nestle, wherein this maida is going to be transported. Such kind of bulk transportation, which is not possible, which is going to be very costly in a new truck, where the filling is going to take something like 6 to 8 hours, and transportation is hardly going to take something like half an hour to 1 hour. The cost of new truck or new bus would be very high if the interest and running is very low. There you have to probably go for older transport or older bus or older truck, which can be modified to suit such requirement. Markets are there, needs are there, and such kind of thinking is required. You have to think differently. You have to constantly research, constantly survey, look for needs and develop products. थोड़ा हम शॉर्टी नहीं बनाए शुरू में तो चलेगा. Idea ये है कि you have to come up with something new and offer. You cannot perfect a product on day one. You have to conceive a product, give in the market, get the feedback, improve upon it, go to some other customer or the same customer, again get the feedback, again improve it, and that is how you have to continuously be in touch with the customer. We have seen most of the industrialists who started with very good customer connect, over a period of time rely upon their marketing teams alone to stay connected with the customer. It so happens that marketing people are not business savvy most of the times, and those who are business savvy, that is the owners, are reluctant to go into the market because they have probably made some money. Age has overcome their nimbleness. They have got good comfort now in the office, AC cabin, so they don't have any this thing. We have seen people at the age of 70 who are going into the market, talking to the customer, and those companies are making a kill in the market. There are people like Harsh Mariwala or C.K. Ranganathan, or when we say Sumant Mulgaonkar, we have got stories wherein they go to garages or dhabas to interact with their customers and understand how the product is faring. Unless you do those kind of activities, you cannot remain in the business for long. Please do that. That is very important, and that is only going to help you afloat. So I was telling what is thinking better, process improvement like Kaizen, Six Sigma, management by objective, lean. Six Sigma is repeated, I'm sorry about it. Single minute exchange of die, 3M. These are all concepts which we have been knowing, we consultants have been promoting. Several hours of training are given in each of the organization, multinational or multi-locational Indian companies, automotive companies love such concepts because the processes do improve over a period of time. These are not improvements. These are only process-related improvements. And we are not thinking fresh or new. We are improving the given process. So we have to start thinking new. What to do? Look for functional fulfillment of need. For example, when we say mobility is need fulfilled by car, what else mobility can be fulfilled with? We have heard of seaplane. Seaplane is a reality in India. We have understood there is a hyperloop which might help a person reach from Mumbai to Delhi in say 2 hours time or 1 hour time. So when we say that there is a new highway coming up from Mumbai to Delhi which is going to help a trucker reach in 12 hours time, new facilities are coming up like hyperloop or like drones which are going to transfer a person in less than 2 hours time. Those kind of mobility options are available. The moment you say that I am a car manufacturing company, you are limited by your options. The moment you say that I am a mobility company, you can think of metro product from your stable, you can think of a car product from your stable, you can think of hyperloop. You have to just be right thinker, and if you don't have technology, develop a technology or join hand with technology provider. Sometimes technology provider might not be from your area of mobility, but you have mobility as your functional definition of the business. So when you have the definition and he has the offering, you can join hand and get into it. Most of the Indian companies we have seen, they have a joint venture with European and American companies. They offer a low labor or cheap labor only. Technology is theirs, idea is theirs, market is ours, and labor is ours. It so happens in few years' time is that there is no cultural marriage between those our two organizations, the one which we are partnering with and ourselves, and that JV breaks. And lot of JVs have broken in the market, including very, very big JVs like Bajaj Renault and those kind of things. Even Tata had several number of joint ventures, but most of the joint ventures do not see 7 years or 10 years time period, and they do not go very long. So go for a JV wherein you have a business understanding, you have a market understanding, you have a technology understanding, Technology provider may have technical understanding, but all other understanding must also be with you. If they have that, their market is, you can cater through them, your market, you can cater through you. Both are going to flourish the company, and that way this is going to be a fruitful marriage. So what is business model innovation, or simply business innovation? So all along we have been understanding what are process improvement. There is something called as business model innovation. Generally, what we innovate in an organization, we innovate cost, we innovate product, process, technology, and these give you incremental advantage of 2%, 2 to 3% in cost innovation, say 15% in a process innovation, say 20%, 25% in product innovation, or other way around. Product innovation gives you 50%, 15%. Product innovation gives you 20, 25%. Technology innovation may give you 40% advantage, but when you go for business innovation, you change the rationale of doing business, and you might go 2 to 3 times or 5 times of the current revenue that you are getting. So what is business innovation? A business innovation changes primarily the rationale, idea, paradigm, passion about the business, and then change how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. At most of the places, even business innovation is considered as value capturing phenomena. But if you survey the customer, understand the needs of the customer, bring improvement to the product, or come up with a new product, it might be having an element of creation of the value. What can be the examples of business innovation? Tatkal happens to be one of the best example, I would say. Railways was seeing that agents are making money in last minute ticket need of business traveler or people who need to travel in distress because of some illness or some kind of death of a near and dear one. In those cases, people were ready to shell out 30 to 40% of the ticket amount to the middleman. The railway found an opportunity over there and introduced the Tatkal scheme, wherein they are reserving something like 30% of the tickets for such kind of travelers, and they are pocketing these profit as against the agent. In this case, people who are ready to pay extra are going to number cost, wherein still some kind of deliveries assured when it is booked through Tatkal, and the system has been a win-win situation for all. We can see several business innovation in the market like this, wherein for express delivery people charge high. Most of the startup on such mechanism, Thelagadi.com, Porter.com, Swiggy, Zomato, these are all business innovation kind of phenomena. Lacks of such kind of youth, and the country has a good employment potential from such organizations. So as I told you, this is also largely value capture. Then what is value creation? You need to have an understanding of competitive advantage in value creation, because value is created when you have competitive advantage. When you have competitive advantage, you are going to develop products. When you are going to develop products to fulfill a need of the customer, you are going to generate value. Once the value is generated, then only you can capture it, and then it will be a win-win situation for the business. You have to have a laser sharp focus. You need to be very keen on understanding customer requirement. You have to go. At some case where we asked our customer to go for a survey of 5 people as a homework. They have to ask their wife, they have to ask a club friend, they have to ask a market person, just like that. They have to ask a school time friend, and they have to ask a general acquaintance. So 5 people we asked them to touch who they know and ask what is their business is and whether they know about the business. It was a welding rod company. First month they did not do any homework. So they did not touch up any one and they came blank in the session, the strategy session that we used to conduct. It so happened that we were adamant that this homework has to be done. Please do this exercise. We are not progressing further without this homework done at your end. So 5-6 key players which were there in the session went back, and next one they came up with findings. The owner was aghast to tell us that his own wife wanted the railing of the house balcony repaired, for which the worker who she hired temporarily from Chowk Market, we call it in Indore, where casual people are available for such kind of errands and small jobs. The welding rods were procured by that worker from the money given by the housewife, and it was a very shoddy brand. This company which we were consulting was having a reputed brand. She did not know that such kind of product can come from the factory, which could be a high quality and right fit kind of thing. And he was telling it with a shame on his face that even his wife did not know what products the company is manufacturing. Such kind of loss of focus is sometimes detrimental. A business cannot work in a vacuum of social capital. You need to be proud of the activity that you are doing. You have to take people along. You have to say people that what you are doing, and you have to be taking pride in all of those activities. Then only focus would come into picture. Differentiation. If you offer something different than other, then only you are going to stay in the competition. Not much is required to say over here. Yes, there can be differentiation of cost, which is a very small differentiation. Of feature, yes, you need to study a lot of feature, package, and service aspect. In 3, 4, 5 areas, if you differ from your competitor, then you have a higher chance of staying in the market and having a competitive advantage. Most of the times it so happens that we stay in the market, we flourish the business, not understanding what is our competitive advantage. It so happens that if someone new comes up at a higher level, at GM or vice president level, and he tries to tweak the offering that we have been doing because he has seen that tweaking in his earlier companies. And if that goes against the differentiation that we have been offering in the market, we have seen that backfire. And in that process of backfire, the companies have lost millions and millions of revenues also. So for any new initiative, you have to ensure that it is going to add to your competitive advantage and not go counterproductive. The moment it goes counterproductive, you lose on your differentiation. And the moment you lose on your differentiation, business suffers. So you have to be very clear about it. Cost leadership, it is going to come from differentiation, but it can also come from various other aspects. For example, volume, presence in various places. So if you can offer depot-wide sales, if you can have manufacturing setups at various places, then you can offer a better cost leadership to your customers. And latest edition is design thinking. This is one area where a lot of people are now gravitating to. Huge, big consultants are trying to inject. We are going to look something like this in a little detail in whatever time is available. Our brain needs high energy for creativity. Normally, brain uses 2% of metabolic energy on a day-to-day functioning. This functioning is done through automaticity, functional fixedness, cultural alignment, hyper-reflection. For creative pursuits, much more energy is consumed in going different from above. You cannot be 100% creative because in that case, the brain would use something like 20% of metabolic energy, which is going to starve all other organs of their energy. So you would see that when you are mentally very busy from morning to evening, till you become very tired. And there is no physical activity most of the time. But since you have been applying your mind in a creative way, the brain requires a huge energy. What is it? What is automaticity? When you observe something without any, for example, you are driving, and in the process of driving, you do not need to really be very focused and understand when to change the gear and when to apply the clutch and when to apply the brake. It comes automatically to you. So it so happens that initially when you try to learn the car driving, you apply all the 5 senses and it becomes very stressful. The moment you learn the car and you start working on driving the same on a regular basis, it goes into an automatic mode. So in the automatic mode, the energy reduces. Similarly, functional fixedness, wherein you do not tend to question if something is going on and it is on a routine basis, you don't have to question it. Ideally, you should question if you want to kindle your creativity often. So if something is going on which is not right or which is different from a routine activity, if you question that, if you are curious, if you are inquisitive, you can rekindle your creativity. Cultural alignment, if you are into your group of industrialists on a daily basis, you have a group of friends, if you try to interact with those people, you are under alignment with your cultural beliefs. The moment you try to change the track, for example, we are into consulting, if I try to learn a music, if I go to learn dance, that is something which I have not been able to do anything on that front. That is going to bring some kind of flux in my day-to-day working and thinking and limb movement, etc. This is going to unleash some kind of energy in the mind. This misalignment is going to help me develop on creativity. Hyper reflection, you do not tend to experiment. As I told you, as the organization is small, startup, most of the time, people continue to experiment. As you become stable, you have a reduced desire to experiment. That is also a kind of state wherein creativity is lost or creativity is stunted. So for brain to improve your Kindle creativity, you have to understand all these things and start some activities which are going to help you become more creative. If you start becoming more creative and apply that to business, that is going to help your business in a much better way. The process is you have to prepare for the creative activity, gather the information, explore, focus on the problem. You incubate the problem, internalize it, sit in your mind to subconsciously solve the problem. Sometimes we say that if you have a problem, sleep over it, probably in the morning you will get some solution. How does it happen? Most of the times it so happens that by your experience, you gather so many information in your mind and it goes and sit in some subconscious area of your mind. The moment you park a problem in your brain and sleep on, and if you are focused to solve it, constantly working over it, when you are relaxed and sleeping, brain takes you to that area where the information is parked to help you solve that problem. So most of us have seen that incubation is going to help you in that. There is some illumination where eureka moment is there inside. I can tell you one example of mine. When we used to stay in our old house, there was the very big crossing at our 100 meters from our place, which I used to see. And traffic used to be very haphazard over there. So in those days, two opposite sides were being opened up. So you can say that north and south would be opened up and east and west would have red lights. Then east and west would open up, north south would be waiting for light to become green. I used to think why we cannot leave one by one if it is going to be such much problem, because it was such a busy crossing that people need to go to all directions, and there used to be a big scuffle. Now it so happens that the problem that is going on in your mind is also going on in the mind of those people who are probably into traffic improvement and those kind of things. Key is who goes there first. If you had gone to the traffic people and told that this is what your idea is, you might get rewarded and you might get a project out of it. If somebody else has thought about it, probably he will gain the business out of it. So similar things happen at same point of time all across the world, and some products get successful, some products become not so successful. It's a matter of how the products are positioned, how the services are positioned. Eureka Moment of Insight gives similar product ideas in multiple brains, because the problems are common and sometimes the solutions are also similar. You have to then evaluate an idea, apply it to the problem, and verify to what extent it is working. There are strategic challenges that you need to work upon in your brain to be able to grow. You need to predict the future in which it will be operating. For example, the world is now trying to grapple where artificial intelligence is going to affect the businesses. More so, how Amazon is going to be affected, how transportation is going to be affected. We are looking at driverless car, driverless metro, and driverless planes are already a reality. For that, it has to be able to visualize the changes that would affect it. We need to understand and visualize how the driverless car would work. What will be the benefits? What will be the challenges? While managing the change, it has to remain relevant. So yes, we need to understand how it can remain relevant, whether it is feasible or not, whether it is going to be or it is too ahead of time. Sometimes if you are too ahead of time, you are thinking something like which is going to be relevant 50 years later. And if you are working now, probably you will be ahead of time and you might fail even in that condition. In the face of extreme competition, you need to understand what are your strategic challenges. You have to standardize process and operation so that there are no surprises to you. You have to still maintain a creative culture. Creativity is possible to harness. Creativity is possible to develop. It may not be with one person alone. If you are able to develop creativity in a group of 7, 8, 10 people in an organization, even that is going to be a very good starting point. The moment it is done, the products and services are going to improve. The organization may start responding in a much better way. In conclusion, for all this is to be possible, the company has to spell out its strategy and organize its various functions synergistically. I have been asked the question that strategy and design thinking needs to come much later. We have to first improve our housekeeping and hygiene, then we have to go for process improvement, then product improvement, then probably we'll have to go for technology improvement also, wherein we become world class. Once we become all this, 4 things are taken care of, then we can go for business model innovation and value capturing. Then in the end, we can go for design thinking. Friends, this does not work. In the process of improving top 3 or top 4 or initial 4 things that we have discussed, housekeeping, process improvement, product improvement, technology improvement, if you chase them, probably the whole life it would be consumed in the process. Sometimes the competition would run up with a better business model innovation and a better product, and you would be left behind. The best time to start working on value creation and value capturing is now. And those things are also important, and let they be also parallelly being done, but you cannot sacrifice business model innovation or value capturing methods and design thinking, that is value creating methods, over housekeeping, process innovation, product improvement. The moment you do that, you are going to lose in the competition and your business also finally. I have been attending courses of design thinking through Sri Arun Subramaniam of VAC Solutions. So some material is taken from them, and the journey is still on. If you have questions, I welcome you to ask them. Thank you.
Jyoti, you're muted.
I'm not getting your voice.
Yeah. No, Jyoti, we can't hear you, Jyoti.
Yeah, Jyoti madam seems to be muted.
Yeah. Jyoti, we can't hear you, Jyoti. You just log out and log in again. I think you're. So thank you so much, Jan sir. Amazing presentation and a lot of insights, sir. I leave the forum open for questions, if any, till Jyoti sorts out her issue. The session is, yeah, we can hear you now, Jyoti. The session is open for questions. If you wish to ask questions, you can, either raise your hand and unmute yourself and directly ask, or you can put them in the chat box. Yes, over to you, Jyoti.
Yes, sir. All delegates to put a question in the chat box, so they can, or they can unmute your.
So we have a text from Mr. B.N. Rao. He says, please share the PPT. This entire session recording is placed on our YouTube channel. You are free to relook this session. In fact, all our Sadhguru Sangh sessions are put on the YouTube channel of ICS and Sadhguru Sangh. Please feel free to refer to anyone that you feel is of your interest or that you may have missed. If there are any further questions, please put them in the chat box. Or you can directly ask the question.
So we will wait for a 2 minutes. Sir. If there is a question. Request you all, please put a question in the chat box.
If there are no questions, over to Jyoti madam to further process.
Okay, sir, with the permission.
Sir, if there are no questions, then I'd like to put one forward. Jan sir, how do you look at value creation in terms of what is your USP? One is what is the right method of first identifying the USP of your your own organization, And then what are the instill values that the market is looking for? How do you bridge that gap? Because you might have certain skill sets which the market may need or may not need. So how do you first, what is the right method of first identifying your value proposition in terms of what should a company do to first pitch itself in its value terms? First, the identification process, if there are any tools to, first identify what our USPs are or what competences are and what the market demand is, and what is the hierarchic or the right method of putting this in place?
They're very difficult questions, sir. It so happens that when we have a Parker pen coming from America, which is costing something like 6,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees for a cross, similar brand, and we have pen from Bic, which is costing hardly 2 rupees. Both are delivering similar value for writing. So how do we understand what kind of value we are going to provide to the customer? That value has to be actually unleashed in what customer is looking for. For probably a student, a 2 rupee or 10 rupee pen would be sufficient, but some person at the level of Ambani or Adani or even a 500 crore turnover company, a signing person would like to have a better pen which can give aspirational value. So products which have aspirational value have a huge value for which you have to really work on the design aspects, flowability, some kind of brand. How do you build up the brand? How do you give that aspiration to the brand, insignia and those kind of things? And you have to put a lot of things, lot of effort on all those areas. India has not been very good on premier luxury products, and that inside and that area needs to be really worked upon as far as our offering are concerned. We are mainly into catering to the basic need fulfillment products and services. So when you ask for, is there a tool or mechanism to work out, we have to first understand whether we are going to work on the need part of it or aspirational part of it, can be the first starting point. Then we can look at where we are strong at, what is our team capability, how are we going to be harnessing our ecosystem from consultant to government to designer to such kind of organizations. And then we need to come up with something which tested on given customers. Then we can look at whether our offering is successful or not. Probably this can be a small answer I can come up with.
Thank you so much, sir. Very well said. So basically, every organization needs to first look inside out and then look at what are their key points, what segmentation they want to do, look at market demands, and then probably try to make which checkbox goes which against what requirement and how it can be done. I think
Yes,
that's absolutely correct. We have Ashim ji who's raised his hand. Ashim ji, you could please unmute yourself, and Ashim ji, I think, joins us from Nepal. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, namaste from Nepal.
Namaste.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm a sustainability consultant based in Nepal. And my concern is that my take on business architecture has two big components. We talk about the business value creation, we talk about value capture. And the next one is called what I understand as operating model. So for me, operating model is important because I can see that very important domain within the operating model is structure, capability, and assets of the organization has to be a fundamental or foundation for an organization to have a leapfrog. So trying to and would be happy to hear from Mr. Jain that what is the role of operating model that a company can prosper for prosper by business model innovation. Thank you.
Yeah, operating model is something from the process point of view, we have been very strong through our management system development background. From value creation part of view, we'll have to understand how we need to go to the customer, understand the functional need, how our products are fulfilling that functional need, whether over a period of time there has been any change into it, how we get that information back to our company and give it to our team of designers and process improvement people and tweak the product and service so that it is again offered back to the market in a better way. It need not be a big data based exercise that we need to do, even if 5 persons are touched, maybe on quarterly basis or 6 monthly basis. And if the products and services are tweaked with that, a lot of improvement are possible, which market is just not now. That would be my take as far as methodology is concerned or operating model. Customer to the we again fall to the same trap of capturing or looking at process improvement areas which have a limited possibility of benefits.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sumit, sir. I hope you got your answer. With your permission, sir, I'll just proceed. The next session will be on 1st April on 2023. We will be publishing on Monday. ICS is pleased to provide you all its research and development, integrated management system, QMS, MS, and OSHA. Excellence in education management, ISO made easy in Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, and Hindi. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgunsan.org and go in your login and give feedback. On behalf of Sadgunsan team, I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed delegates of the webinar for the presence and contribution for this to make this webinar a great success. So thank you all, and officially we are closing the session. Thank you, Yogesh sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jain sir. Thank you so much. Very lot of insight, sir. It was an honor having you, sir. Thank you for sparing the time and sharing your knowledge with us. It was really meaningful. A lot of learning for me, at least, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you.
sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
हो गया बहुत अच्छा हो गया। वो आ गए थे आईटी वाले, नहीं तो इज्जत की ऊंची नीच हो रही थी क्योंकि सिग्नल नहीं थे इसमें। कर दिया था शर्मा साहब ने कर दिया था, नहीं उनको समझ आया था। शर्मा जी ने मेरे को देखा वॉशरूम जाते बोले